I want all of you her dream job. She looks out with the coffee in the hand window, and everything is so perfect. She has everything under control. Her son is in the kindergarten. Well, Dad is not feeling very well today, but he's okay. Mom is taking care of him. Her manager is right there giving her tasks, and life is so beautiful for her. But the ring bells in the back office, and the manager calls her, "Can you please come over for a second?" She goes in the office, on the phone, her mom saying, "Can you come over as quickly as possible? Dad is not feeling well." Well, of course, this is urgency. This is family emergency, and I straightly went there, and it takes probably in a jam hour 20 minutes for me to get from work to home. That was the longest 20 minutes in my life. The longest, and they seemed like years. Unfortunately, when I got home, my dad was already passed away. The day of 21st June of 2001 became the day when my life has changed. In 3 months, my grandma passed away. After her death, my aunt passed away in 3 months. Me being 2 times Employee of the Year winner, I got so abused with the things, and I was so irritated with the things that I lost my dream job. And I was the only breadwinner in the family. It took me 2 years, 2 complete years to recover from this, what happened, what I just told you. 2 years I could not stand up, and only friends were helping me with the kid, helping me with the mom. So these were 2 years where either I win, either I fall. I wish I had known those days what I know now. And I will tell you what I think will be. This is my dad, by the way, and I was the only child. Do we have only child in the family? Raise your hands if you are. So I was raised with such a care, such a tender, that I had no worries at all in my life, at all. Everything was ready, prepared for me, and I was just flourishing all the time. So it was the moment that what has changed. I wanted to tell you something that will prepare you for unpredicted. Tony gave a brilliant presentation about all the technological changes that are happening, and we all know that are happening, yeah? Right? Question to all of you. Do you think that the way we work, live, and interact with one another has changed fundamentally and will be changing even more? Yes or no? Yes. Thank you. You can be louder. We have good acoustics here, I'm sure, in the concert hall, yeah? The second question, whether we like it or not, is it here? Yes or no? Yes. Better, much better. Now, question again to you, all of you. Please raise your hand and leave the hand reason if you ever have lost anybody that you loved and you cared. Please raise the hand if any of you had felt abandoned or felt depressed, or if you, no, just keep hands. I want anybody who had that feelings like that, and anybody who had their loved ones ill or felt some disorders. So if you look around, the adversity is not treating you differently, yeah? We are all the same. So we need to somehow prepare for that, and here is how. Actually, I want to give you some details about the statistics. We had great statistics from Tony, but in order for us to survive in this world, not only survive the personal dramas in life, we also need to survive at the workplace. And there is no surprise. And those are the facts that I'm sure most of you are pretty familiar with. And I just referenced some of the World Economic Forums, McKinsey, all these big boys that they invest lots of funding in their studies and research to find out where are we heading, so to predict us and to prepare us. So we as an individuals, we as a project managers, to have in mind how we can do it, to prepare firstly ourselves, to prepare our teams. It's on us, it's our responsibility to prepare the legacy, right? And we are a community who builds the organization's management, right? Would it be in the volunteering job or will be in the paid job? The responsibility lays on us. So 50% of this group, we are here, at least, has to upskill, reskill, whatever we are doing right now. 75% of jobs won't exist anymore when the primary school kids who are in the school now will finish their schools. Isn't the number huge? The number is really huge. Now to go to the finance side, because organizations, we are looking at the finance side of anything that is happening around us. So recent studies after the COVID shows that those organizations who were healthier, meaning were able to adapt quicker, not only survived and continued, but were gaining more and more profits, but those who were not adaptive enough. Usually when I talk about adaptability, this saying comes, and everybody from the audience is saying, oh, we are the human species that adapts the best, right? Because we survived, because I'm here, I'm the best adaptable species in the world. But would it be enough? Would it be sufficient? Because the speed of change is different. Is the skill of adaptability fast enough today that I can adapt and I can survive? So the organizations who cultivate the resilience and ensure adaptability. I wonder, in the room, how many of you have adaptability programs in your organization? Please raise your hands. One, thank you. That's great, because we do all these programs for capacity improvement of communication. It is needed. We need it more and more. We need more and more the technical skills, those digital literacy skills. Yes, we do them more and more. But to prepare my employees for unpredicted It cannot come in one day. I should be helping them in the workplace. Where am I? Because I am also responsible for them to be adaptive. And for sure, I don't want my kids go through the pain that I went one time. They may be very adaptive than I do, but how do I know that? Nobody in this room, I'm sure, wants to have their kids or loved ones to suffer. They want them to be adaptive because this is life, and one day we all gonna die, right? But we want our kids to be prepared for this, to have the adaptability, stand up fast, and be effective, faster than yesterday. That's the matter here. We adapt all. So organizations who could adapt quicker survived better. And organizational adaptability, we will talk about what it really means, comes from the individual adaptability. Now, question again to you. I want all of you to take a few moments and rate yourself from the scale of 0 to 10, how much would you give it to yourself? 1 minute. Can you shout out the number?
8.
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm happy. It averages at 7 somewhere, yeah? Very good. Now the question, next question, how would you rank your team in terms of adaptability? More. No, more predictions, what you think. Okay. Next, how would you rank your organization? Where do you work?
5.
You know, have you noticed the trend? Have you noticed the trend of ranking yourself, the higher, the team lower, and the organization even lower? But we are the organization. We are those people who are in the organization. Yeah? It's interesting that the research shows that in the room of people, when you ask about the adaptability and ask to rank yourself, it's of course the subjective. First we need to understand what it means and how you measure. I know all that science, but just you have a guess, right? You have a guess. It seems that 78% of individuals rank themselves higher than they are in reality. We have that perception. We are very adaptable. If you ask my colleagues around me, I did this study several times. I asked the audience several times, and when I was asking, how do you believe that? They would say 8. So why? What gives you the reason behind it that you are 8 in adaptability? Oh, because we survived the war, I survived my ex-boss, I did that, but that was in the past. How do you know that you will do the same in the future? How? How do we know that? And I got deeper into this and I studied what are the errors, why people make errors with this adaptability, why they think, and it's not the reality what they think. The first error is that each of you in the room has different perception of adaptability, different understanding of adaptability. There is nothing to say wrong or right, but it's different. So there is no common, aligned understanding of this description. The second is there is no validated measure that I can rely on, right? I love swimming. I'm not the swimmer, but I do occasional swimming. And when I do the swimming, I love counting my rows. Yeah? When I count the rows and I compare them with the time, I know if I'm doing better than yesterday, better than the last month, how I'm doing at all. If I'm improving and I see that I did a little bit, maybe one stroke better, then I'm just like, yes, I'm good. So we love data, and all the presentation was about data, and we all know that to make the right decisions, we need data, yeah? But what to measure in adaptability? What should be measured? How do I know, am I really 8, or how do I know, am I really 3? I tell you my story. The first time when I came across to the measuring of adaptability, my score were, even though I survived all this stuff, what I told you, and in between what I survived, I was below average 2 years ago. Below average. It was so surprising to me that I was like, really? The next error with adaptability is that we have too much complacency. The complacency is very good. We have to have it in our teams, absolutely. We have to have it in our organizations, but we talk about too much. There should be some balance. When we have too much of complacency, we are not going to adapt. The fourth is that the human being's biology. We are averse to the change. However, when somebody asks me, do you like change? Do you like new things? Oh, I say, yeah, let's go for it. But when I go to my work on my daily routine from home, and the municipality has just destroyed the road, and they are rehabilitating the road and the pipes, and I have to turn longer way, even though I am project manager, and I understand their pain for really what the pain is to work with the municipalities, with the citizens, to explain, and everybody complaining, and so on and so on. Me, who understands all the pain that project manager of this project goes on, I'm still, why they couldn't do it faster? They should have done it yesterday. I want it to be done even faster. So that shows me that this new road which I'm driving irritates me. I don't want to take the new path. I want the path that I know, and I'm going like on the autopilot, yeah? So it's in our human being's body that we don't like change, yeah? And we have very low sense of urgency, not only in ourselves, but also in our teams and organizations. What it means, the low sense of urgency? Well, we survived the years of economic crisis in 2008, we'll survive here. We survived the pandemic, and we will survive anyway, and anyway, everything will be fine. I'm not saying that the managers, project managers as you are, and the leaders of your organization should be panicking, but there should be sufficient enough sense of urgency. We have to have it. And actually, we are the best. Look at the market, we always say. I'm remarkable. We are remarkable. There is nothing. You look around. We have done it so far, we will make it. This is very good when you do it a few times, but also have back in mind that we need to adapt faster. Other errors. Management. Management has strategic goals they are working for. So, well, adaptability, it's not a big deal. I have so many digital transformation going. I have so many things, the goal 1, goal 2. So that can wait because it is intangible. Can you touch the adaptability? Can you receive the adaptability? It's like the communication. At least you by the communication, you can see how person improves the skill of talk, how can improve the mails, the writings. It can be observable, but how can I see that my colleague who I sent to the 6 months program for the adaptability improved it? How can I measure it? Yeah. Management becomes passive. They don't resist. Well, HR recommends, let's do it. Let's do it. We don't resist, but it's not very supportive. Also, we have lots of bureaucracy. I will put this year's budget is already approved. We don't have a room for this. Our next year is 95% done, but I'll try to squeeze it in there if we can work with our employees' adaptability. So we always think there are some steps we have to take. Yes, there are, but can we be more adaptive? Okay, communication. Communication, and what I mean by that, the silence usually is perceived as a positive thing you agree with, but not always, right? The silence sometimes means that you are not resisting, but you are not in either. The criticism we receive, and the killer one is that when project manager or management and leadership says one thing and another thing is done. This is just a killer of all the adaptability, okay? I wanted to set you for the definitions, how I see the adaptability. The individual adaptability is the way people, organizations adapt to unpredictable and planned change as well. Because any project that you are implementing, unless they are adopted by the people for whom you are doing them, they're useless. People need to adapt them. People need to take them, yeah? Some of the definitions of the team and organizational adaptability. Team adaptability, the capacity of the team to make needed changes. Capability. We measure we have lots of psychometric adaptability, psychometric assessments, but when I looked around, I could discover only 3, and I will show them, and I dig deep down and found out how they are measured, okay? The second for organization is how organization can adjust business processes and improve themselves. And actually, when I looked, I'm sure this manifesto is very familiar, and all those principles are for adaptability, right? As productive team is, as adaptive the team is. So this is this food for thought and common understanding. Those 3 models that I researched, this is Curtin Adaptation Innovation, which is counted way back in 1976. The Pulakos et al. Is dated 2000, and it is used in the military US, but the most recent one is AK. And it is believed by its founders, this is the first AI-based adaptability assessment, which predicts by your answers, and I'll give you shortly why we should believe that those questions are correct. Who made them? Why should I believe the results that I'm getting are reliable? And this is the dimensions I actually wanted to go through. Why I selected this middle AI-based model? First of all, it is based on the data, and we all know as more data, as decision is the better, right? So most assessments were basically answering questions why and how. Why person adapts and how person adapts, yeah? But in the model of AK, they talked that why we adapt as a people, how we adapt, and also when we adapt. So this is the dimension of when related to the environment and the organization environment which created for the employees to adapt and to flourish. Yeah? Let's get in deep how the process works, because in order for me to take any assessment, I just need to understand what is the science behind it. Tell me how you collected, who worked in it, who were the science. So this module was developed by the professors from the IE Business School in Spain. They did research and included more than 1,000 participants from 20 countries and tested those questions. The background actually behind it is that 70% of those questions which you received in the assessment are based really on the Financial Times scientific researches. So they just put those information with the AI, and like Laszlo said that the book was translated in 16 minutes, the AI just took this information and they made the questions which are applicable to those studies. So those studies were based on the predictive analysis, so they could predict, and also what is more important, they are very simple to understand in the language. We talked about one of the errors about the communication. They are very simple and easy to understand. Now, we can also base our prediction on the past data, but also there should be some room for flexibility. What is going on? Because the trends are changing very fast. And then the 30% of the questions in the assessment come from the staff who are psychologists and who study each field and really come up with the questions. And they come up with the why criteria, how they QC'd the process. QC is they validated, first of all, data. They looked at it from the standpoint of reliability. How reliable those data, those sources are, their searches, how reliable they are. Robust, are they enough robust? Should we consider them? And are they unique? So one of the criteria was uniqueness, and also it should be distinct. So those were 5 dimensions that they were QC'd. Then they come up with this AC model. The AC model consists of the 3 dimensions of ability, character, and environmental. They come up with the AQ index. So like we have our IQ, we have EQ, so they come up with the dimension of AQ index, how it is, and it consists of ability, character, and environment. Ability is the way how we adapt and what skills do we have and resources, the different levels of mastery, and I will go deeper in each of them, have even deeper dimensions. So the second is the character. Like I'm sure most of you or some of you have done the MBTI tests, yeah? Those are more related to the inner world. So how you are built, and as a person, your innate, your level of extraversion or your level of hope or so on. So the third dimension is environment. You as a person can have all the skills for adaptability, but if environment doesn't support you, you are not expressing your adaptability skills. It's like a seed. If you take a seed, which can flourish in a very good soil, if you put it and don't water it, it just lost. The same, yeah? What are adaptability skills? Ability can change, and they consist of 5 sub-dimensions. The first is grit. Grit is when you are pursuing your goals, and I'm sure lots of people recall the actions they did, and they were very gritty, they pushy, yeah? The mental flexibility, the ability to have two conflicting ideas in the mind, and we need it, especially in this era, because, for example, I may have an idea, I may push it, but if I am too resistant to new ideas, the organization is making the wrong decisions. Still, with all this data science that Tony mentioned, the decision maker is still human being, at this point at least, yeah? Mindset, self-belief. This is also one of the dimensions, but it should not go too much complacency, yeah? The fourth one is resilient. Actually, this is the character, that ability that I wish I had in my early 20s. I didn't have any of the resilience. I was not prepared, and I fall very deep. But as it said, if you fall deeper, then you go back higher. So it's also sad, so it must be true, yeah? The ability to unlearn. I'm sure most of you heard about this. Whatever we studied, even with PMI, when we studied something in a PMBOK 1, we have to just forget and now learn something new. So I struggle myself because I am a waterfall person. So I come from construction background, from healthcare background, so my project should be very well planned, and I should have predicted everything, plans, milestones. But now I'm trying to unlearn all this, but we have to do it faster. I'm not fast enough. Who adapts and why? And this is the character we can affect the less. That comes with us, without genetics. I'm not saying that you cannot change it, and because we all change. I'm sure some of you were more extrovert or introvert, and it's changing by the time. For example, I was more extrovert, now I'm becoming more introvert. I need some time for myself, to spend it alone, to find the energy in myself. So it's changing over time, but it's not changing dramatically. It's not changing dramatically. So, emotional range, what it means? Emotional range is that you have different types, character employees and team members. When you deliver some change, some new information, you know that some of them react very emotionally. Some of them are collective, yeah? When you know the person's emotional range, that, oh, this is the person who really expresses himself so emotionally, you know that you shouldn't be taking it that seriously, and give the person some time to sit down and think about this change. So it should have some balance in between. It shouldn't be that two-way collected, the person was never expressing herself and was like always just in observant position. But the person should have somewhere else in the middle, not too much or any of those. So hope. I was so surprised. I do some research about the longevity, and hope is almost similar, and the third attribute of the longevity, which is the optimism. And in this sense, hope is related to the change. When we do the project, or when we make any change in our life, the person, some of us, thinks in the result of negative way, that this change will result in the negative way. Some, by the nature, think, oh, this is change, this is good, this is always for positive, and so you saw this type of people, yeah? We need to know, first of all, in ourselves, what is the level of hope? My level of hope was so low. I was amazed. Oh my God, I have to do something. And I noticed It reflected my mood, it reflected my energy, it reflected my productivity and efficiency, everything. It reflected on everything. Because I was like, why I'm doing it? Nobody's still seeing it. Just we are working as an everyday life, so what is the sense of changing things? Why we're changing this system now? Why we are implementing this module if it's not gonna work anyway? Wrong thinking. We always better think for the positive. So it really affects on the, at the end. The thinking style. Are we judgmental? This is like the portions are from MBTI. Like extroversion, like thinking style. Thinking style is more of, am I too much concentrated on the very details, digging into the and micromanaging, or do I see the broader picture? So you have to understand, first of all, yourself, then you have to understand the team and the team's role in the organization, because then you have all these people. In my team, for example, I have people who have gaps in different areas, but they complement each other so nicely, so nicely. That doesn't say that I shouldn't work on their gaps in the skills, what we have identified, but as a team, it's perfect for the new change that I want to implement, for the new project. They are ready. They can take it. But sometimes when you have the team which is not as adaptive, it means that you have to do, you have either cultivate, you have done your job before, but you can have an addition, a person with a different sets. So it means that, first of all, we have to know and then decide, yeah? Last dimension is environment, and I'm sure most of you really, really care about the environment where your employees operate. The first one is company support. The assessment, what you will do is very closed. It's only available to the people, HR, of course, and employees answering how much support he or she feels from the company, how much support he feels. It's perceptive. It's nothing the real, but this is the perception of an employee, how the employee perceives the company supporting. The emotional health. What is the status of the company's emotional health? And I'm sure you've heard a lot about this. If there is unhealthy situation in the organization, even if you are super adaptive, you are not productive. You are not effective. So organization also will learn by this how they are doing in terms of emotional health. The 13th dimension, team support. What is the team support you are getting in that specific project, in that specific environment? Yeah? I'm sure you all saw this little karate boy who was trying to break the wood, and the team, bunch of young kids were supporting and cheering him, go, go, go. He tried several times, 10, 15 times, but the team would keep supporting him. And finally, at one try, he broke this wooden desk. Would he do that so many times? The team has not supported him? Maybe, maybe not. So, the next dimension is work environment. The work environment is how well the company has the processes in place, procedures in place. Is this the chaotic organization? Are they doing this only by the heart, or they have just rules and procedures? As more, but sufficient enough procedures there are in the organization, the safer the person feels. But it shouldn't go way too much bureaucracy. Remember, we talked about the too much bureaucracy. It should be just enough. And work stress. We all know if our amygdala starts panicking, it shuts all the senses. We cannot respond positively to anything. We cannot make the right decisions. That's why we want to have the safer environment when our team members flourish and team members give the best they can give, their best potential. Again, I am coming back to the question, how do we know that our IQ is high? Have you measured it? I only can think of that not. So I went through the process of measuring myself. I got some results, and I worked for 6 months dedicated for each dimension, and I measured it again. And I noticed the improvement. It was not dramatic improvement, but I noticed some improvement. But what's more important, I felt it. My team felt it, the feedback that I was receiving. So adaptability is the muscle that you have to work. And here is the 2 message from today's session that I want you to take. Only 2 message. Prepare for unexpected. Prepare today and have it in your routine as a daily. Those are very simple. 3-minute rules, 3 wins to write, 3 hopes to write. Very simple exercises that you can do, but you have to plan every day. And you have to assess, identify, and adapt. And do it all over again. The second message, the second request is to share the information with your beloved ones, those ones who you care, so they also work on their adaptability skill. So they also can improve their adaptability skill. So they should be aware that it can be worked. This is where I got from my way to being 23 years old, ruined girl, and I'm here. This is how I made all this way, but it took me a long time. I want to do shortcuts. I don't want to do the long times. Just do it, prepare it, and be ready for it. Thank you.